In the first part of this episode, we saw Roderick Strong finally reach the top of the mountain in PWG, turning his back on the fans and embracing a dangerous bullying streak to capture the PWG World Title, beginning his reign with some impressive victories over some rising stars in the promotion. If you haven't seen the previous episode, I strongly suggest you go back and watch that first, before coming back to this one. Otherwise, we're picking up right where we left off, as Roderick Strong's reign of terror continues. Two months after Strong defeated Mike Bailey, PWG would host the 11th annual Battle of Los Angeles tournament, featuring plenty of the usual PWG mainstays, as well as a whole host of names flying in from Europe and Mexico making their debuts. Strong would not compete in the tournament itself, though Mount Rushmore would compete across all 3 nights. On night 1, Strong would rekindle his rivalry with Zack Sabre Jr. in 6-man tag team action, teaming with the Young Bucks to defeat the European super team of Sabre, Marty Scurll and Tommy End. On night 2, Super Dragon and the Young Bucks would defeat Biff Busick, Andrew Everett and Trevor Lee in a wild guerrilla warfare main event. And on night 3, the full might of Mount Rushmore 2.0 would be on display, as they would defeat Ricochet, Rich Swann and Helico and Phoenix in an 8-man tag team match. In spite of this victory, it would be a tragic result for the faction. During the match, Super Dragon would perform a double foot stomp and injure his knee, forcing him to bow out of the match and cutting a PWG return short after just 2 matches for the second time, him having injured his heel in his second match back in 2012. This would unfortunately end up being the final match of his career. The main event of the show would be the finals of the tournament itself, with 3 finalists all having previously challenged Strong for the title. Chris Hero defeated Timothy Thatcher, Biff Busick and Jack Evans. Zack Sabre Jr. vanquished Ricochet, Pentagon Jr. and Marty Scurll, and Mike Bailey bested Drew Galloway, Tommy End and Will Ospreay to reach the finals. In the end, it would be Sabre who emerged victorious, submitting Hero after a 35-minute battle to claim the Bowler Trophy in his second attempt, earning himself a future title rematch against Strong. Roddy would emerge, preparing to blindside Zack with the title, though he'd get caught. They'd face off, Strong promising to beat the shit out of Zack when he eventually receives his title shot, before Zack promises to take the title and celebrates with his fellow countrymen. After a 4-month hiatus, PWG would run their next All-Star Weekend shows in December, though Zack would be preoccupied in Germany at the time and would not be receiving his title shot. Strong would make his next successful defence against another PWG mainstay, Matt Sydal, putting him away with a particularly nasty sick kick and the end of Heartache. Strong and the Young Bucks would hold court after the match, Strong saying that while Zack has a title shot in the bank, it will be him that decides when he defends a title against him. Candice, Joey and Mike Bailey would clear the ring before the lights would go out. When they returned, Super Dragon would reappear, the always silent Dragon conspicuously holding a microphone. He tells the 3 to suck his before the Bucks attack, the masked man nailing an Ushigoroshi, the mask coming off to reveal none other than Adam Cole, making his PWG return after an entire year away. He shows off the new and improved Mount Rushmore t-shirt, now 5 faces instead of 4, and he embraces the Bucks. Strong doesn't take too kindly to Cole replacing the injured Dragon in the group, snatching his title from Cole and reluctantly standing tall with the rest of the faction. A backstage promo reiterates Strong's distrust of Cole, Cole adamant that he has no interest in Strong's title. Roddy is unconvinced, and annoyed that the Bucks didn't tell him about their plan before Cole returned, though the Bucks remind him they need a 4th man for the guerrilla warfare match taking place the next night, which he just about accepts. That next night, Strong, Cole and the Bucks took on Candice, Joey, Speedball and Hero in said guerrilla warfare match, another wild PWG multi-man main event extravaganza. Before the match, Strong and Mount Rushmore make an official declaration of war on PWG, taking out announcer Angelo Trinidad and referee Rick Knox before the fight began. The match would see Excalibur and Rick Knox get revenge on Mount Rushmore, as well as some timely interference from Kikutaro, but the headline would be the lights going out in the middle of Adam Cole's Bebe taunt, with Kyle O'Reilly returning to PWG to join the fight against Mount Rushmore. The match would continue with tons more crazy violence, but in the end, a Tiger Driver 98 from Excalibur and a thumbtack elbow pad rolling elbow from Hero would earn Team PWG the victory. Excalibur would close the last show of the year, announcing that January 2nd would be the next PWG show, while the fans chanted for Zack Sabre Jr. A backstage promo from Mount Rushmore sees them still united, despite being quote-unquote screwed by the PWG locker room. Roderick Strong refusing to defend the PWG title against Sabre on the first show of the new year. The next day, the card for that next show would be announced. Sabre set for a dream first-time encounter with Akira Tozawa, already set for his first defence of 2016, against the man who scored the fall the previous night, Chris Hero. Another great heel promo from Strong precedes the match. Strong demanding that from now on Rick Knox doesn't referee his title matches, demanding the other guy, Justin Borden, come out instead. I'm not one to defend Roddy, but I have to say, given that Knox hit his stablemate with a Doomsday device on the previous show, I think that's honestly a pretty fair request. Strong intimates hitting a belt shot on Hero during his introduction, but it's Hero that actually fires the first shot, blasting Strong with a bicycle kick before the bell for an early 2 count. Hero stays on him with a crash landing, bouncing him corner to corner with chops, shrugging off a reply from Roddy and dropping him with an elbow. Strong manages to counter an attempted pile driver and sends Hero to the apron, landing a knee and dropping him across the apron, slamming him into it once more and beginning to take control. He grinds down Hero on the mat, biting his hand when he attempts to counter and connecting with a 6 single leg dropkick. Strong switches to strikes to maintain control, keeping Hero on the back foot with stomps, chops and forearms, never allowing Hero to really build momentum. When Hero does connect, his ridiculous striking power drops the champion, but the damage Strong has done prevents Hero from meaningfully capitalising, and Roddy is able to reassert himself with ease. Over time, Hero's resilience begins to aggravate Strong. He takes his frustrations out on both the referee and Hero himself, taunting him with disrespectful shots as Hero begins to rally, ultimately catching the champion in midair with a deafening elbow. Hero crawls to the corner, patting the PWG title for good luck as the fans chant for him, catching Roddy in the chest with a cyclone kill, and following up with a nice diving elbow for 2. He tries for the Gotch pile driver, but Roddy slips free, connecting with a series of running elbows and pancaking Hero for 2. Hero thwarts a superplex twice with elbows, trying for an avalanche pile driver, though Strong escapes. The champion chains together a superplex, gutbuster and sick kick, but Hero somehow kicks out once more. Both men are down for a while, but it's Roddy who recovers first. Hero reverses a stronghold into a cradle for 2, drilling him with a nasty snap pile driver. Hero's jumping pile driver only gets 2 as well, and an exhausted Hero is left wondering, what will it take to claim the title? He rallies, but Strong pulls Borden into his path, capitalising with the Gibson driver. Knox runs out to make the cover, but the delay gives Hero just enough time to kick out. After intimidating Knox in spite of his fair count, Strong and Hero trade big shots back and forth. A boot from Hero wins the exchange, and he kips up to his feet looking to end things. He sets up Strong for the death blow, but Strong once again yanks a referee into his opponent's path, and Knox getting destroyed by the elbow. Roddy capitalises with a jumping knee, but his end of Heartache is reversed into a devastating tombstone pile driver. Borden makes a slow crawl across the ring, but the delay is just enough for Roddy to get his shoulder up in time. With 4 men down in the ring, Roddy inches towards the PWG title. He baits Hero in, but he ducks the belt shot. Hero tries for a powerbomb, but Strong counters with a pair of belt shots and a sick kick. Hero shockingly kicks out at 1 and tries to fire up, but he's met with 2 jumping knees and 1 final sick kick, allowing Strong to once again retain the title. Strong's 6th defence is another solid match, one that's very different to his previous defences because of Hero's enormous size and power advantage. The opening of the match conveys this really well, Strong getting ping-ponged all over the ring by Hero's strikes and having no answer to the initial onslaught. Strong's segments of control and domination have to be just as aggressive as his prior defences, if not more so. A bigger guy is going to be harder for Strong to bully, but he absolutely rises to the occasion. He works in a more disrespectful way, and leans into his speed advantage really effectively. The match is structured, such that Strong's comeuppance never lasts too long. There is no chance of sympathy for the devil here. I'm a real fan of Chris Hero's work. I've said it many times in various videos and blog posts on Patreon, but from 2014 to 2016, I truly believe he's one of the absolute best wrestlers in the world, almost certainly the best independent wrestler anywhere. The variety of stories he told, with wrestlers of so many different styles and backgrounds, made his independent wrestling return run really special. And I think in this match, while it's far from his best work, we see a lot of what made him so effective in this period. His selling underneath is great, also ready to get more aggressive to maintain control, and when he does get the chance to go on the attack, everything he does has a ton of power and credibility. In a vacuum, it's a technically sound and well thought out match, but I don't think it truly succeeds for one key reason. The reason this match suffers is purely the wider story in the promotion at the time. If the eventual rematch between Zack and Strong hadn't been so heavily and deliberately forecast since Bowler, I think this match could have managed to convince some fans that Hero might win, and that Zack would get his shot against him. Alas, I don't think anyone ever really thought that Roddy was losing here, and I think this match is unfortunately seen as something to pad out Strong's reign on the way to the Sabre Jr. match. I think it's why the huge number of near falls and false finishes, while serviceable, aren't as effective as they could have been. In a match where the result is such a foregone conclusion, unless the fans have really truly bought into it, an ending like that is going to be gratuitous. And while a live crowd certainly enjoyed the match, I don't think they were sucked in enough for it to truly work. Still, good performances from both, and a totally acceptable match. I'm just not sure if it was laid out in the best way when it comes to the bigger picture. Adam Cole would make his way to the ring to congratulate Strong, amidst chants of "We want Sabre." Roddy would take the mic to remind the fans how much he hates them, much to the enjoyment of Adam Cole, before Sabre would emerge. He'd make a brief statement, promising that when he does get his title shot, he's taking the title and running Strong out of PWG, which the fans erupt for. A month later, Strong would defend the PWG title against a Brit not named Zack Sabre Jr., one who had been making waves everywhere he went since departing WWE a couple years earlier, Drew Galloway. After a somewhat mediocre WWE run, Drew Galloway had something to prove, and proved something he did. Galloway wrestled anywhere and everywhere across the US and UK independent scenes, holding gold in ICW and Evolve, as well as becoming full-time with TNA at the start of 2015. He had made his PWG debut in the 2015 Bowler, being eliminated in the first round, but being 1/5 of the winning team in the super serious 10-man tag team match on night 3. He had returned for the first show of 2016 with a win over Jack Evans, becoming next in line for the PWG World Title. This was far from the first meeting between Galloway and Strong, the pair engaging in a brief but intense feud in Evolve, including a nasty steel cage match in which Strong brutalised Galloway when he was trapped between the cage and the ring. With the Young Bucks in Japan, Roderick Strong would enter with all 3 PWG title belts. Before the match begins, Strong once again takes the mic, refusing to allow Rick Knox to referee his match and demanding he leave the ring, before attempting a cheap shot on Galloway. Drew sees it coming and goes on the offensive, hurling Strong across the ring and following him to the floor. Galloway's height and power advantage exceeds that of Hero in the previous match, and it shows. Drew hurling Strong head first into the ceiling and throwing him back first into the emergency exit. They continue to brawl around ringside, Drew consistently having the advantage until Roddy breaks free of his grasp, booting him hard through the ropes. Strong tries to assert himself, but gets caught in a terrifying tilt-a-whirl slam that comes close to ending in tragedy, an insane show of strength on the part of Galloway. Roddy escapes to the apron, catching Galloway with 2 backbreakers, but Galloway is able to bridge out of the pin. Now that Strong has been able to assert himself, his cockiness returns, provoking the fans as he keeps Galloway on the back foot, taking a page out of Super Dragon's playbook and almost fighting a fan who called him, quote, wildly mediocre. He shows off some impressive speed and strength, Galloway cutting him off with an impressive buckle bomb. A huge lariat off the top sets the stage for the future shot, though Strong escapes. His attempted Marufuji countered with a spinebuster. Galloway follows up with some huge chops and a boot, trying for some sort of superplex, though he gets caught in the tree of woe. Strong stops him from rising with a Gamangiri, looking for a Loki-esque double stomp, but Galloway manages to hurl him off the top rope with a belly-to-belly, following up with an inverted Alabama slam into the turnbuckle and a claymore, though Strong survives. He gets booted off the apron and crawls through the curtain to escape, though Galloway's not having any of that, throwing him back into the ring and promising to f**k him up. Strong kicks out Galloway's knee and connects with a curb stomp, both men collapsing on the mat. He battles to get Galloway up for the superplex and nails it, holding on for the gutbuster and trying for a sick kick, though a well-placed lariat from Galloway turns him inside out. He counters a backslide and spikes him with a future shock, though Roddy once again somehow kicks out. Galloway rallies, positioning Strong on the top rope and attempting an avalanche air raid crash, though Roddy manages to slip through and sweep the leg. He recovers first, putting together a huge combination of strikes, nailing the gutbuster, and finally the Gibson driver. He exposes his knee, but gets caught, sparked with a tombstone pile driver, but somehow Roddy kicks out. Galloway is distraught, sadly flipping off the referee before rallying. He charges Roddy in the corner, but the champ evades, Drew driving himself shoulder first into the ring post. Strong distracts the referee with the Young Bucks tag titles, to land a headshot of his own world title, but once again Galloway kicks out. Another boot sends Strong into the ropes, but he comes back with not one, not two, but 3 jumping knees and the end of Heartache, to finally put Galloway away. Post-match, Adam Cole makes his way to the ring to congratulate Roddy, the pair almost immediately putting the boots to Galloway. Strong sets up another chair bridge, and while Galloway tries to fight the pair off, Roddy's jumping knees turn the tide. As he's about to hit the end of Heartache, Sabre hits the ring to make the save, catching Roddy in a double wrist lock. Cole breaks the hold of a super kick, and he and Strong scarper. Roddy promises to embarrass Zack, challenging him for the first night of next month's All-Star Weekend event. Zack's mic doesn't work, but he promises the fans he'll be the next champion. There's some really great stuff in the first half of this match. The chemistry Galloway and Strong established in their Evolve series carries over really nicely here, and the way the two go at each other is awesome. Crowd brawling can sometimes feel quite pedestrian and box-ticky. Not here. It feels physical and dangerous and fun, and really wakes the crowd up and gets them into the match. When they return to the ring, much like in the Hero match, Strong turns up his aggression to still play an effective heel against a much larger opponent, and it works convincingly enough. To be honest, I haven't got a ton to say about this match. There are cool spots here and there. The tilt-a-whirl save, for instance, is incredibly impressive, but the match is so similar to the Hero one, I would just be repeating my thoughts on the previous match. Like in the Hero match, I think its downfall is in the finish. I don't think anyone seriously thought Drew was winning here, which is fine. Not every match has to be tough to call. If they are predictable though, I think you need to go out of your way to do something different and interesting. There's a bit of that with the crowd brawling segment I loved, but doing an extended series of near falls in the main event of an already action-packed and tiring show, when the fans know what the result is going to be, and are therefore not biting for the near falls, it hurts the match. Everything they do is executed well, but to be blunt, they're just executing the wrong things. All in all, it's solid. There are some really nice touches sprinkled throughout, but once again we have the wrong sort of finish for this sort of match. It does knock it down a bit for me. A couple of days after challenging Zack, Roddy would send a special Valentine's Day message to him, claiming he acted irrationally, announcing that he won't be facing Sabre on the first night of All-Star Weekend 12. He says their match will instead take place on night 2, with Strong having a non-title match on night 1, and Zack taking on Roddy's stablemate Adam Cole instead. That first night of All-Star Weekend 12 would see both champion and challenger emerge victorious. Strong would brutalise Mandrews, including a very scary moment I'm pretty sure caused a concussion, later winning with the end of Heartache. Later in the show, Sabre would clash with Cole, a rematch from the former's first singles match in PWG. Despite Roderick's attempted interference, Sabre would lock Cole in a torturous version of the champion's stronghold right in front of him to win the match, continuing his momentum going into the next night's title match. The main event of night 1 would see the Bucks successfully defend the tag titles against Matt Sydal and Ricochet, before Cole and Strong would hit the ring to put the boots to them. Sabre would try to make the save, but the 4-on-1 advantage would be too much to overcome. Strong cuts a really great promo over Zack's body that I highly recommend you seek out, promising to destroy Sabre the next night and send the fans home crying. It's fantastic, and is Roddy's parting shot before the highly anticipated rematch. After all the stalling and attacks, both physical and verbal, it all comes down to this. 6 months after earning it, Zack Sabre Jr. finally gets his title shot against Strong, and the crowd of the American Legion Hall is absolutely electric. He gets a hero's welcome from the fans, the ring being covered in red, white and blue streamers as Next World Champ chants echo throughout the building. Strong demands the microphone as he's announced, shutting down the crowd and once again demanding Knox leave the ring, refusing to allow him to referee his title match. Just as Borden makes it to the ring, he hits a super kick from Knox to an ovation from the fans. Prompted by Zack, Knox rings the bell, and the match is on. They get off to a very quick and aggressive start as the crowd chants for Sabre. going hold for hold in a really frantic way. It works so well in conjunction with the intense and energised fans, and portrays the importance and overall energy of the match perfectly. After the first couple of skirmishes end in stalemates, Roddy leaves the ring, using up the referee's count to recover physically, and also to attempt to play mind games with the challenger. As he's about to re-enter, a shitty little champ chant breaks out, and instead Roddy feigns heading to the back. In response, Zack claims the title belt for himself, which, given what we know about Roddy and his motivations, unsurprisingly prompts him to immediately drop his facade and hit the ring. Roddy takes the fight to the challenger with some heavy strikes, though Sabre manages to take Strong down, beginning to target the champion's knees and ankles. He begins to target Strong's arms, but a really aggressive throw hangs him out to dry on the top rope. This gives Roddy the opportunity to really go to work with huge chops and forearms, though Zack comes back storming with uppercuts and headbutts, following Roddy to the apron. This is a massive mistake though, as Strong drops Zack face first onto the apron in a really scary looking bump, following it up by slamming his helmet back into the corner. Roddy hits the ring gloating, but as Chris Hero points out on commentary, there is a moment where we can see Roddy slightly sell the wear and tear of his left leg, indicating that Zack has done more damage than he would like him or the fans to think. He puts the boot to Zack as he re-enters, shaking off the left leg as he does so, targeting Zack's core intently with strikes and suplexes. Sabre continually and defiantly kicks out at one, irritating Strong and causing him to press Rick Knox. Roddy follows Zack to the apron, though this time it's the challenger who comes out on top, Strong landing awkwardly on his left arm. Zack stays on him with a huge series of European uppercuts, putting everything he has into them, before returning to Strong's left arm with some really spiteful holds. Strong cuts him off with a gorgeous dropkick and sets Sabre up for a superplex, though he targets the left arm once again to escape, following up with a nasty leg sweep. He switches his focus back to Strong's left leg, isolating it in the ropes and connecting with a series of dropkicks that ground Roddy. He continues to target it, but a quick flurry from Roddy creates distance that both men use to recover. Strong's the first to his feet. He catches a kick, but it's a huge slap to the face, Zack baiting him in to catch a gorgeous armbar. Strong quickly escapes and tries for the stronghold, but when Zack begins to wriggle free looking for a triangle, Roddy puts a stop to it with a nasty knee drop to Sabre's midsection. Sabre targets the arm once again, ascending to the top rope in an attempt to hit a double stomp to the already weakened arm, but Strong cuts him off, bringing him down face first and doing even more damage to the ribs of Zack. It takes them both a while to recover from this, Strong sending damage done to his left arm and leg, and Sabre making it obvious how much pain he's in, as a result of Roddy's continual targeting of his midsection. Strong tries for a gutbuster, but Zack is able to grab hold of his left wrist to foil it. A chop drops him, with Roddy countering the counter to achieve an unbelievably close 2 count. He immediately tries for another gutbuster and connects, but Zack is able to hold on and flows beautifully into a really gross submission. Strong is able to get to his feet, connect with another gutbuster, though Zack charges to cut off the sick kick, before dumping Roddy on his face with a half Nelson suplex, in a move that completely sucks the air out of the room. He follows up with a PK, and both men collapse again. They make their way to their knees and trade huge forearms and boots back and forth, doing so with more bile and more spite than you often see in these sorts of spots. They continue on their feet, Roddy getting the better of Zack, but getting caught with a really nice Northern Light suplex transitioned into an armbar, though he breaks the hold with a stomp to the jaw. Strong manages to get Sabre onto the top rope and finally connects to the superplex, hanging on and looking for the gutbuster. Sabre counters and locks on the flying octopus in the centre of the ring, though Roy slips out and lands a doctor bomb for 2. The pair have really slowed down now. The urgency and intensity of the opening salvo has long since been forgotten, replaced by a sluggish and pained struggle that you see in every move either man makes. Sabre goads Roddy from the canvas, eating boots for his trouble until Strong undoes his own boot, throwing it in Sabre's face and going to town with even more vicious shots. A shitty little sock chant breaks out, the same chant we heard during Strong's match with Kyle when he won the title, Roddy responding by pulling up said sock. Zack removes his left boot and kick pad, revealing a much longer sock, the crowd rising to its feet in response. Yes, I'm really talking about a PWG title match with 2 men show off their socks. It really happened, and it's awesome. The 2 trade elbows until Zack catches a beautiful crucifix, holding on when Strong kicks out at 2, and transitioning into his gym break special, the omoplata armbar combination, though Strong makes contact with the bottom rope with his bootless foot, and breaks the hold. Both men stay down for a while, exhausted. Zack is the first to his feet this time, charging but getting laid out with a monstrous sick kick. The 2 are absolutely running on fumes now, both men's gas tanks completely depleted after so much physical and mental strain. They both use the ropes to rise to their feet, but it's Strong who manages it first. Elbows, chops and uppercuts are thrown back and forth, until Roddy connects to the flying knee out of nowhere for the first time in the match. He follows up with the end of Heartache, but Zack is just about able to kick out in time. Strong muscles him up onto the top rope, setting up for what would be a devastating fireman's carry manoeuvre. Sabre slips free and connects with an uppercut, before joining Roddy up there. He drags him down with an enormous flying armbar that brings everyone to their feet. The pair battle over the hold, rolling this way and that before Zack transitions, locking up the omoplata and the armbar to complete his gym break special once again. Strong inches towards the ropes, but Zack learned from last time, applying a stretch muffler to prevent Strong from reaching the ropes and completely tying him up. With no free limbs and nowhere to go, Strong verbally submits, the crowd erupting as Zack claims the PWG title and ends Roddy's 400 plus days as champion. The streamers are flying, and Zack collapses in the crowd as the entire building celebrates. He's joined in the ring by Andrews, Galloway and Skull for a short but sweet post-match promo before the show ends. For me, Roderick Strong's PWG title reign ends with its best match, a more than fitting end to the run for sure, and I'd argue the best match of either man's career up to that point. I could talk for hours about how technically skilled both men are, but for Sabre and Strong, perfect execution is pretty standard, so I'd rather talk about all the things I think are much more unique to this match in particular. Zack and Roddy are known for their ability to pace themselves, and can outlast most of their peers in the cardio department. Here, after getting off to such a fast-paced and intense start, plus all the build-up and high stakes anticipation, the two exhaust themselves both physically and mentally surprisingly early, and from then on the match becomes a much slower, more pointed and more tactical war of attrition. Each man's strategy is entirely consistent with who they are as a wrestler, which is always great to see. Sometimes you'll see guys and girls wrestle in ways that are completely out of character for them, for seemingly no reason aside from that being the way they planned the match so they could do the cool things they wanted to do. Not here. Strong targeting the core of his opponent is nothing new. We've seen it time and time again in this reign. Strikes, backbreakers and continuous pinfall attempts designed to break through his opponent and weaken them entirely. Sabre targets any and every limb he can get his hands on, softening up every extremity in anticipation of locking in some sort of dastardly submission to try and earn the victory. People always talk about Zack's technical prowess, the way he transitions between holds, never staying in the same configuration for too long to limit his opponent's ability to manufacture a potential counter. All that stuff is undoubtedly great and compelling, and was game changing for me when I first discovered him around this time, as I was unfamiliar with classic British wrestling and never seen anyone work in this way before. What struck me most going back and rewatching this match, and the first encounter between the two in part 1, is just the sheer recklessness that Zack throws himself around with at this time. When he's on the attack, he throws himself at his opponents, his running European uppercuts shifting the entire ring as he throws himself into the corner. When he's being attacked, he routinely hurls himself around for his opponents, taking some horrific falls into the fans in the front row at times. He has so much energy, and puts it all into everything he does, and given that I rarely see people talk about it, it's something that I wanted to highlight here. Go back and watch any mid-2010 Sabre and keep an eye out for it. It's glorious. Of course, this video is about Roddy first and foremost, and man is he just delightful in his final title defence. We've seen so much aggression from Strong in this reign, but in this match it feels different, much more desperate and much more motivated by fear. As a result, we get to watch Roddy run the gamut of heelish tendencies here, starting off aggressively, leaving the ring to try and play mind games, showing his insecurities when Zack picks up the belt, his arrogance and bile as he engages the fans, his spite as he mercilessly targets Zack's core. There's nothing groundbreaking about anything Roddy does individually, and with a crowd as hot as this, there need not be. But when it's all combined here, and contrasted by such an admirable babyface as Zack, it's just a truly brilliant performance. I've spoken about how Strong's title defences from Bola onwards suffer because the fans basically know that the absolute earliest Strong could conceivably lose a title is in the Sabre rematch, which means in the meanwhile they have minimal investment in the matches. In this bout, it's the exact opposite. The way this match was built up and held off for so long really makes the fans invested in it. The atmosphere is quite unbelievable, the crowd is just incredible, and the match feels enormous. It feels so much bigger than most PWG main events, and as much as the fans are really behind Sabre, they still don't know for sure if he'll be able to dethrone Strong until the very end. It's tension, electricity and heat and anticipation. It's everything the crowd needed to be for this match to be as successful as it is. The finish is just perfect, being built consistently over the course of the entire match, Sabre toughing it out and overcoming Strong's onslaught to out-wrestle the champ, disproving Strong's assertion that he is the real best wrestler in the world. As he submits, Roddy's reign comes full circle. O'Neilla's submission is what leads to the title change. Roddy wearing just one boot once again. A tremendous end to a tremendous reign. Strong's loss to Zack Sabre Jr. would not be his last match in the promotion, though it would certainly be the beginning of the end of his run. He would defeat Sami Callihan in the main event of the next PWG show with the help of Adam Cole, and would defeat Timothy Thatcher in the second match of PWG's 13th anniversary show. The main event of that show would see Zack make his first successful title defence, submitting former champion Kyle O'Reilly in a fun match. Post-match, Strong would hit the ring and take out both men, demanding his automatic rematch right there and then, the same manner in which he won the title from Kyle. Strong would get the advantage quickly, but upon Zack turning the tables and locking in a submission, Bucks would hit the ring to save their stablemate. Skull would emerge to help O'Reilly even the odds, leaving Strong and Sabre alone in the ring. Adam Cole would distract Zack for a near fall, but would get inadvertently caught with a jumping knee from Strong, allowing Sabre to get a flash pin and retain his title for the second time in the night. With rumours of his impending signing with WWE swirling, the fans would begin to chant "Thank you, Roddy," Strong immediately smiling. He would take the microphone and call out the Bucks and Cole, who would feign an attack that Zack would try to prevent, though it was a fake out, the four men hugging. The rest of the locker room would follow, before Strong would cut an incredibly endearing and emotional promo. He'd thank the fans for allowing him to change and grow into the wrestler he became in his last run, would thank PWG for being the reason he met his then fiancée, now wife Miriam Shafir, and would toast the fans and the locker room. This amazing farewell would not be Strong's last appearance in the promotion though. He would return to PWG one final time in 2023, for the promotion's 20th anniversary as part of the 8th Mystery Vortex event. At time of writing, this was PWG's last ever show. The promotion had been on an indefinite hiatus ever since, and no footage of the show has ever been released, though I think we can assume his match with Michael Oku was a good one. I decided to make this video a two-parter for two reasons. First, if I hadn't split it up, it'd be well over an hour long, and I would never expect anyone to listen to me witter on for that long in a single sitting. Second, and more importantly, I think this title reign consists of two very distinct parts, with regards to the style of the matches themselves, but more importantly with regards to Roderick Strong's character. I think it makes a lot of sense to focus on each in separate videos. The first half of Strong's reign is just fantastic. He takes on all comers with an arrogance and a viciousness that makes for a really great heel world champion, using underhanded tactics to actually win the title, but generally wrestling and winning fairly cleanly. I spoke about it in detail at the end of the first part, but I think it bears repeating. His disdain for the fans comes from a place of insecurity and sadness. He had to become something different in order to win the title, and finally gain the true recognition of the fans. He claims his prize, but the fans give him no recognition. He can say the fans as many times as he likes. It doesn't change the fact that he truly wants their admiration, and he feels like he deserves it as their champion, ironically it being how he won the championship that caused the fans to lose all respect for him in the first place. That changes when he turns his back on the fans entirely, interfering in DDT4 and helping the Young Bucks win the tag titles and forming Mount Rushmore 2.0. It's at this point that he truly completes the turn, no longer caring at all about the views of the fans, their respect or lack thereof. Recognition and appreciation no longer matter to him. It's about championships and victory and continued domination. This fundamentally changes the way he wrestles. Before, it felt like he tried to wrestle cleanly to prove he was a worthy champion. The attitude of the Young Bucks rubs off on him, and he's more than willing to cheat to retain the title now. His style is broadly the same, but his motivations and the lengths he'll go to, they've changed. For these reasons, the second half of his reign feels really distinct from the first, which I think is awesome. We get to see a change, an evolution during the reign itself, allowing Roddy to portray two similar but subtly different heel characters, both of which are really compelling to watch. I think the problem with the second half of his reign, up until the Sabre title change, is not in Strong as a wrestler, but in what his title defence has become because of the overall story being told. In a vacuum, matches with Hero and Galloway are technically fine. But when you're the PWG main event, in front of a crowd that's already seen so much great action, and is fairly sure the title won't change hands because the Sabre match has been so clearly set up, I think going for 20 minutes in a somewhat formulaic match with a series of huge kickouts is just a bad idea. The fans are sure Hero is going to lose, so him kicking out at once doesn't get the reaction I think they expected, and it forces the match to drag on further. The fans are sure Galloway is going to lose. So him surviving a belt shot and 7 more moves hurts the match more than it helps it. I just think these are the wrong matches for the overall story being told, and especially for those main events. In the Galloway match, for instance, the opening part of the match works really well. Galloway bounces Roddy all over the place. A 10-minute bomb-heavy slugfest, ending with Roddy using the title to steal a victory, would have been way more effective both on this show and in the context of the wider story. Instead, we get the sort of PWG main event they felt they had to put on to give the fans their money's worth, an extended finishing sequence of near falls and kickouts the crowd just doesn't buy into, and it just doesn't work. Compare those to the matches in the first part, particularly the Sabre and Bayley matches. Sure, the audience may not have thought Strong was going to lose, given how early into the reign it was, but at least they didn't have a future hyped title defence hanging over them. Those near falls work better because the crowd could believe, even for a couple of seconds, even though it might have been unlikely, Strong might lose, and because they wanted to see it happen, they bought it all the more. In the Hero and Galloway matches, as popular as they are, and as hated as Strong was, I don't think the crowd wanted to see them win. They wanted to see Zack do it, and it hurt those matches. That said, the way the Sabre rematch was held off, while not being ideal for the title defences that took place in between, was invaluable in building anticipation and hunger for it. It was postponed by the champion over and over, creating even more animosity towards him, while leaning into the theme of insecurity that is such a core component of Strong's character around this time. He's afraid to face Zack, because he's afraid that the fans are right, that he's not the best wrestler in the world. His number one contender is. The fans' desire to see Zack get his shot follows Roddy from Bowler all the way to the eventual match 6 months later. By the time we do get there, the patience of the fans have been stretched so far, and like an elastic band pulled taut, there is a ton of energy waiting to be released. You feel that in the final match, that palpable tension, that big fight feel. That energy is so real and is so crucial in making that match what it is. To me, what makes this reign so great is that it allows Roddy to lean into a ton of different heel aspects, moving between character traits in a way that shows his range while still being consistent with his character, but at the same time allowed the fans to rally around his opponents out of both hatred and desperation. Strong runs the gamut of heel traits during his reign, displaying cunning, cowardice, viciousness, arrogance and insecurity, oftentimes all in the same match. Strong's heel work never feels stale, because while the core components of his character are the same standard traits all heels share, the amount of emphasis he places on each always varies from match to match, in such a way that his character always feels fresh. The entire premise of this series is to cover wrestling stories I think are interesting and deserve more attention or analysis, and hopefully in the process to encourage people to check out these matches for themselves. I decided to cover this reign because I have such fond memories for the heel Roderick Strong of this time, and because I think a lot of people that praise this reign do so purely because of a couple of matches and Strong's great promos, without actually appreciating or even acknowledging how layered and interesting the overarching story of Roderick Strong is here. The story of this reign on the surface is so simple, but there are so many interesting layers stacked on top of each other, in terms of narrative, theme and character, that make it something truly special. The overlooked gatekeeper, the man that comes close to the title more times than anyone without reaching it, decides enough is enough. He turns the corner but comes up short, in the end resorting to even more nefarious means to get another opportunity, taking full advantage of his second chance to claim his prize. He turns his back on the fans, believing that while they hate him, the fact that he now holds the gold means they will have no choice but to respect him, to acknowledge him as among the best in the world. He finds himself with the prize, but not the recognition, and as much as he pretends otherwise, it eats him alive. While he has the title, he still finds himself playing gatekeeper to the rising stars that are nipping at his heels, showing his improved vicious streak while defending his title cleanly in an attempt to prove he deserves respect. When this fails, he chooses to continue his descent, aligning with wrestlers who truly don't care what the fans think of them, whose influence encourages him to take any and all shortcuts to hold onto his title, cheating to win matches and ducking the top contender, the man the fans call the best in the world. He holds him off for as long as he can, but in the end, when the two meet in the ring, Strong is defeated. It's beautifully nuanced, our Macbethian villain being undone by the same hubris and callousness that brought him his power in the first place. When you look at the reign as a whole, you see more than just the great matches. You see this complex story being played out by possibly the most well-rounded and consistent wrestler of the 21st century. As Strong himself says in his farewell speech, it was this opportunity to portray himself the way he did in this run, the opportunity to show his range and become the wrestler he wanted to be, that made him stand out in the independent scene enough to get the call to go to WWE and later AEW. Without this run, As consistently talented as Strong had been for his entire career, I'm not sure he would have ever gotten the opportunities and the respect that he deserved. It was in this period that he finally put all the pieces together and firmly established himself as one of the best in the world. And I believe his reign of terror is among the most well executed and satisfying heel title reigns that I've ever seen. Of the matches that I spoke about in this two-parter, my absolute top recommendations will be Roderick Strong vs Zack Sabre Jr. from Don't Sweat the Technique, Strong vs Mike Bailey from Mystery Vortex 3, and Strong vs Sabre 2 from All-Star Weekend 12 Night 2. But I think there's real nuggets of greatness in every match. Thank you so much for watching this two-part episode of WrestleLore. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, then be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like it in the future. I'm always intrigued by what you guys think, so please leave your thoughts in the comments. In the next episode, we'll be heading back to Mexico, though this time it's a family affair, as a real-life telenovela plays out in the six-sided ring of AAAR. Be sure to follow me on Twitter for updates, and once again, thank you for watching. Cheers.